What's up, guys? So y'all saw the title. I'm going to do a little quick rundown on my 2016 DRZ400SM. I've got it completely set up for stunt riding. It's set up for primarily lot. I can ride streets with this setup, but I'm 90% a lot rider, and this is primarily just a stunt bike for the parking lot. So if that's something you're interested in building, I've done a lot of troubleshooting on this bike over the years. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've made a lot of discoveries about this bike in the 4 years I've owned it. So I'm just here to share a little bit of knowledge that I've grown over the years with this bike. If you're interested in building a good, reliable DRZ400SM for stunt riding, I think this bike is hard to say because I haven't run a Speedo in so long. But I want to say it's close to 50 or 60,000 miles, and this is all stock motor, stock cams. The only major work I've done to it is I think the steering stem bearings, and then I obviously just took it all apart not too long ago to do some color changing, change some stuff up, but it wasn't because it had to be done. The only kind of work I've done to it is just oil changes, coolant flushes, spark plugs, air filters, stuff like that. So it's a good, reliable bike. If you treat it right, it can be ridden in the stunt lot, and it can be done reliably. So I'm gonna give you a rundown on that. This is by no means a every DRZ setup video. This is specifically for parking lot stunt riding. First and foremost, regardless of what you're doing with a DRZ, this is like number one, even before the fender eliminator. Get you some case savers. They're like 30 bucks on Thumper Talk. You can probably find them a little bit cheaper on Amazon. The problem with these cases is they're real brittle, and it doesn't take much to break them. And if you fall off road, on the road, in the lot, it doesn't matter. This shifter is going to go through your case right here. You see it all the time in the forums. This is the first thing I ever did to this bike, and I've fallen, I can't count how many times, and it just keeps on going. If you really look right there, you can kind of see where I've dug into it some, but that's thick metal. There's no way that peg is going through that steel right there and busting that case. And the same with this one. I mean, you can see like scrapes and scratches on it, but the case behind it is perfect. But yeah, a little fun fact, I'm still rocking stock clutches. 4 years, 50 or 60,000 miles, stock clutches, people. That's how good this bike can be to you if you treat it right. But I'm not real proud of this. This is just a cheapo Amazon easy pull. I don't recommend this because I have had it cut 2 clutch cables already. That's the next thing to get changed on this. Is I'm going to an RSC on this next. Don't recommend it. Just go ahead and spend the money, get the RSC. Underneath that, I have a Magura HC1 12mm master for my handbrake. The kit comes with a 13, but I changed it to a 12 just because I like a little bit more brake feel. But perfect, love it. KTM style headlight, Amazon is like 20 bucks. A Cerebus Evo SM front fender was like 30 or 40 bucks. They kind of look like shit right now because I tried to vinyl wrap them instead of actually paint them black to match the rest of the bike. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Onto wheels and tires. OEM wheels, painted purple. Michelin 2CT, Michelin Pilot Power 2CT tires, front and rear. Stock front rotor, stock front brake, stock front brake line. I'm going to change that soon as well. That's just, it wasn't really a necessity because I'm not really rolling stoppies on this bike yet. So moving on, handlebars. I like to move my handlebars forward. I run them pretty aggressive. They're on the scale here in the middle. I have them like a half a click past 5, which is about as far as they go on this little scale here. Fork bleeders. All these do is they just make it easier for you to get air out of your fork, so your forks aren't as spongy feeling. Stock front brake master. I want to change that to a Magura 13 here shortly. Thrill Seeker's grippy seat cover. This is a must if you've ever rooted a stock DRZ. You know how slick the stock seat is, and you have the ribs with the grip here. Plan on changing this soon as well, just because now I'm doing black and purple, and the pink doesn't flow with it that well. And you have grip on the side, custom name on the side. 12 bar I bought off the forum. I don't know who made it. It's just, it was cheap. It works. Had a buddy at work weld me a tie plate on, and I bought some BMX pegs, run some all thread through the subframe. Good to go. Even if you don't plan on scraping, or if you don't scrape, I recommend getting a tie bar for your 12 bar, just because you can replace titanium. But if you take enough hits on this 12 bar, it is going to start like eating away at the metal, and then it's not going to do its job, you know. What's the point of having a 12 bar if you eat right through it? Go ahead and buy the tie bar. It's way cheaper to replace a piece of titanium than it is to replace the whole 12 bar. So go ahead and do that. Starting back at the front, on the other side, I have a FMF Powerbomb header into a Two Brothers M7 exhaust that I've cut down short, just because it used to be when I scraped, it would hit this edge right here and just start eating away at it, and it got on my nerves, made me nervous that maybe the exhaust was going to pick it up off the wheel one day, so I cut that down and made it short. It's super loud and super obnoxious now, but it sounds fucking sick, so we're sticking with it. Manic machine and handbrake bracket with two P32s, one for foot brake, one for handbrake, 310mm rotor. Fucking dope. It's best fucking handbrake I've ever rode in my life. I mean, you can stop on a dime with this fucking thing right here. And that's how I like my brakes. I like my brakes twitchy as fuck. 82-inch core motor line, 28-inch. I mean, it's pretty simple to build one of these for stunt riding. I need to put a bolt there. They're pretty straightforward bikes to build for stunting. It's very similar to a Grom or a Z, where there's not much to it. You know, for a basic build, kind of need your 12 bar, an oil mod. That's what I need to go over. The oil mod is stupid simple on this. It's very similar to like a clean air mod on a 636 or something, but it's even easier than say that, because you don't have to. It's just easier to take the gas tank off of this bike than it is like a 636 or something, or a Grom. You don't have to go into the motor like you do with the Grom. All it is, there's a line coming from the valve cover into here, and then out of here back into here, and then the line that goes from here to the airbox. And all you're doing is you're taking all those lines and moving them, and buying this from Lowe's. It's like a 5/8. It's like 20 bucks for 20 feet, and that's way more than what you need. You just take them, run them up around the gas tank, feed them in, so when you're in a wheelie, the oil has to travel up and then around and then into the canister, and it just makes it super hard for oil to get out of the motor versus stock, where it could just dump into the airbox. And then I have the airbox blocked off from that, so the airbox only supplies air to the motor. It doesn't supply what's the term? What's the word? I'm fucking retarded. It doesn't provide atmosphere to the crank. For atmosphere, I'm running the line that used to go from the airbox to this canister here up to this crankcase vent right here. And so it has to go an extremely long way and then back uphill again for oil to get out of the motor. And I ran it for a long time without this mod, and the whole problem with that is that I was having to add oil like once a week to this. And it's because anytime you're in a wheelie, 9-10 o'clock even, chasing wheelies, it's dumping oil into your airbox, and so you're just pissing it out. It's getting blown out of the cylinder like blow-by does. Depending on how fancy you do it, it's 20 to 40 bucks to do it, so it's worth it. Saves your motor. There's a couple videos on YouTube of guys riding like 10-mile long wheelies on these and blowing their motors because they didn't have it done. I mean, that about does it for the parts. There's not much to it in parts. I think it cost me less to build this bike for stunting than it did my Z. It's just not as much to this one. It's like a 12-bar handbrake and an oil mod, and you're good to go. Maybe an exhaust. You could get away with stock exhaust on this. And there's a whole lot more parts available secondhand as well, because it's there's just so many of them out there. Fuck, it's hot as ball soup in here. I knew it was like I was fucking dying in here. Yeah, sorry if it sounds like I've been out of breath this whole fucking time. It's because I have been. It's like 80 degrees in this motherfucker right here. As far as like do's and don'ts, specifically if you're trying to build a stunt bike with this, a lot of popular mods is like a 434 big bore kit, FCR 39 carb, 3x3 air mod, quick turn throttle tube. All of those, I really don't recommend doing any of the power upgrades for this, because all of those, they make it more torquey. And in the lot, being really just an old school dirt bike, it's already torquey and engine brakey enough as it is. So you don't need like those fucking cams and the especially not something like the FCR 39 carburetor or the quick turn throttle. Anything that makes the power delivery less smooth and more like torquey feeling, it's gonna hurt you in the lot. So I would say motor wise, I'd stay as stock as possible. I run a stock carburetor, stock motor, stock throttle. I don't have a 3x3 mod. Literally the only power mod I have is my exhaust and jetting for that exhaust, and that was purely just I wanted the sound. You know, I have rode this bike stunt wise with stock exhaust, and it rides the same, and it's more than capable with the motor it comes with. I wouldn't really worry about doing a whole lot of power mods for, stunt riding. Maybe if you're trying to get top speed out of it, or you're like road racing with it, maybe if you're like track racing it, or if you're just trying to build it for like fun, sure, go ahead. But I mean, if you're really serious about building a stunt bike, I would leave it alone. It's already twitchy enough as it is. Yeah, that's about it. As far as, like things that make it last longer, I've run engine ice since my first coolant flush. I've run Amsoil or Bel-Ray oil, synthetic from Jump Street. Motul 660 for brake fluid. Let me see what I got written down on my cheat sheet. Maybe I should actually take heed from my notes. Oh yeah, hole in the rear fender makes Stagger easy. It's a free mod. Just take like a Dremel tool or a grinder. It doesn't have to be real pretty. It's just like, you have the subframe there. It's perfect. You can put your toes here, heel here, and you're good and stable for staggered shit. Perfect, I say. Kickstand, switch delete. I have had this bike cut off on me and make me mousetrap off of the bike because the kickstand like jiggled or something in a wheelie and it killed power to the bike. So delete that. TPS sensor, I get rid of that if you're going to stunt ride it, just because the TPS retards the timing. If you give it like a quick blip of the throttle, it retards the timing, and it almost puts like a lag on your power delivery. And so if you delete that, all you have to do is unplug it. It's like a green wire up under here somewhere. It's like a green plug, and you just unplug it, and it makes it so it doesn't do that. It's exactly what you're giving is what you're always going to get. And it's crazy to me that they would even put that on this bike to begin with. But I mean, it is what it is. It's a simple fix. You just unplug it. Same with the kickstand, delete. You just find the plug that goes to that, unplug it, and you're good. This is a big one. This bike, I noticed it gets really hot in the lot really fast. So I decided to go ahead and put my fan on a switch. So when I'm in the lot, I can always run my fan on. And even if I cut the bike off, I can keep it going after the fact to let it keep cooling down. That's a big one. Stiffen the rear suspension. That's a super easy thing to do. Stock, I think, is 12 clicks out on this. Yeah, I think that's right. But anyway, stock is 12 out on both of them. I went up 7, so I'm 5 out on both of those. So it's a much, it's a lot harder to compress now. So you don't get that like floaty, in and out, bouncy suspension feeling in wheelies no more. Front sprocket mod. These have a tendency from the factory for this nut that holds the front sprocket on to come loose, and there's an oil seal behind there. So if you lose that front sprocket and the sprocket works its way off, the oil seal will let oil fall out of the motor. So it's a common thing from the factory to replace or take the nut off, put some red Loctite around the splines. I say don't do red Loctite, because if you ever want to change that sprocket, it makes it a fucking bitch to change. I say do like blue Loctite. It's good. It's not going to let it fall off. and it serves a purpose. But that's definitely a thing to do from stock, you know, or if you just bought the bike, make sure it's got that done. Good tires, I prefer Michelin just because that's what I've always run. I've run a Michelin Pilot Power 2CT, 150/60 in the back, 120/70 up front. I've heard good things about the Dunlop Q3. I haven't tried them on this bike specifically. I've tried them on my my old R6, but I didn't really know what I was doing back then anyway, so I couldn't really differentiate between tires. And the Conti Attack SMs are really good, but they're really pricey and they go really fast. The Pilot Power is like kind of like a good mix between both worlds. Like, it has good stickiness, not as good, but it lasts a lot longer too. So, and they're a whole lot cheaper. They're like $150 cheaper a set. So that's what I stick with, is the 2CTs. I think I got it all here. For gearing, stock gearing is a stock gearing I think is 1541 for the SM. I run 1351, so down 2 in the front and plus 10 in the back. It's a good mix. It's kind of screaming at 60, you know, just keeping up with traffic, not gonna lie. I mean, it's struggling a little bit, but dude, it's fucking titsing a lot, and I'm really thinking about going up like 2 more teeth in the back just to have that extra little bit of control in the lot. This video is gonna be shit, but it's a good look at my bike and how I think about it. I've got a lot of years with this bike, and I've been through the fucking ringer with it, trying to figure out how to make it a good stunt bike. She's just about dialed now. I mean, there's a couple other little things I want to do to it to make it like fucking dialed, like put a magura on the front brake side, you know, steel line on the front. But it's a bunch of nitpicky stuff I don't really need right now anyway. But I mean, from Jump Street, if you just want a basic bitch DRZ stunt bike, I'd say get some gearing, get a 12 bar, handbrake bracket. I mean, 50 stunts. The 50 stunt bracket works, and I used it for a long time, but I never had the confidence in it like I do with the Manic machining bracket. It's fucking tits. Never felt a handbrake that feels that good. I didn't mean to go off on a tangent. It's just, I cannot say enough good things about that handbrake setup. And the foot brake to go with it. The foot brake, it makes that spongy stock foot brake feel like nothing you've ever felt before. But yeah, 12 bar handbrake, a little bit of gearing. I really recommend this oil mod unless you just have the kind of money to fucking throw away a quart of oil every week and you check it before every ride. But I mean, that's just too easy not to do. You just take the gas tank off, take those stock lines off, and reroute it up and around the front of the motor. I think right now all she really needs is a new front wheel, because that one's bent, and it kind of sucks about that, but there ain't much I can do about that right now. If you got any more questions about it, just leave me a comment below, or hit me up on Instagram. I'm more than happy to recommend or help out with any problems you got. The only thing I will say that's really weak on these bikes for stunt riding is this subframe is really fragile. If you ever loop out and you don't have a 12 bar, you'll notice they get tweaked really easy. Mine's tweaked a little bit because I've looped a couple times without a 12 bar back when I first got it, and even now I can tell it when I put my 12 bar off and on, and how hard it is just to get everything lined up. And I've been really lucky with how I've looped and not like completely just fucked that subframe. I think Crazy Kyle on Instagram, I think he said his actually shattered on him. Just riding scrapes. Like, it wasn't like he crashed or anything. He was just like gorilla scraping the fuck out of it, and it shattered on him. So now he's got like a full custom subframe, and I'd really like to get something like that one day, but that's big money that I ain't got to spend on this bike right now. Yeah, that's about it. Pretty raw, pretty shitty video, but there's some nuggets of information in there for y'all if y'all are paying attention. But like I said, if you got any questions, or if I didn't answer anything that you were coming here to see, just leave a comment below and I'll see what I can do about answering it for you. Peace.